TOA community, welcome back everybody. Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. And we are going to talk today about lower body strength, lower extremity strength, and its correlation to longevity, reduction in falls, higher quality of life, higher ability and performance as we go through the aging process. And I want to show you a couple of research articles that support this, some of the suggestions and guidelines they give you for, for implementing this as we age. But I also want to highlight and kind of go through some of the exercises that I find to be really beneficial. And we are going to highlight one of my favorite people, my client Joyce. And she's a big fan of our channel, by the way. She watches often. Hi, Joyce. Thank you for allowing me to use you as our model for this. We are going to show some clips and some video of Joyce over the last 3 workouts that I've done with her. She's here every Wednesday, so I get to see her today as well. So we'll have some new material from that as well. But Joyce is coming off of 2 years ago falling and breaking her shoulder, and now, or a year ago, excuse me, falling and breaking her shoulder on some ice. Doctor said, you'll never get your arm over your head again. She proved that wrong. And now this year, suffered a couple of falls and broke her back. So she's been rehabilitating from that, had a little surgery, and is rehabilitating from that. But as we've been going through this and kind of progressing her, we're really emphasizing her lower body strength and trying to get her legs strong in as many different directions as we can to help reduce or prevent these falls. So let's take a look here a little bit deeper into some of this content. This is a research article on the effectiveness of exercise interventions on fall prevention. These are on ambulatory community dwelling older adults, and it's a systematic review basically looking at what lower body significant strength has to do with their mobility and their balance. And so they found in this that lower extremity strengthening exercises reveal significant effects on the strength of lower extremities of balance, outcome, and mobility. Balance exercises reduce the rate of injurious falls, improve static, dynamic, and reactive balance, lower extremity strength as well, and as well as mobility. Multi-component exercise training reduces medically attended injurious falls and fallers. And basically looking at across the board the idea of reducing every aspect of the potential for someone falling down. They did this systematic review of, I think there were 1,100, was that right? I looked through, there were a couple of different ones, but a very large chunk of folks, and just found that, as you would assume, the lower leg strength they had reductions in balance and mobility and stability and coordination across the board. So when you hear that, you're like, well, of course that would make sense. So what do we have to do about it, right? And so they give some suggestions. Okay, get stronger in your lower half. Yeah, but what specifically, or how specifically we do that? Another one, a review on aging, sarcopenia, falls, and resistance training in community dwelling older adults. This one, as we get a little bit deeper in here, they start to kind of go through their findings in this. And what I really liked was, what I wanted to discuss was the training here for the older adult / elder / frail elder. Okay, I personally kind of look at those as 3 different categories. Older adults, 50 and over. Elders, probably 75 and older. Frail elders, 75 and older, deconditioned, untrained. When you put that word frail in front of a title for somebody, that typically means that they're in extreme deconditioned state. They are a huge fall risk. And with even the most minimal falls or slight impacts, they're going to experience like catastrophic injury, okay? And unfortunately, these are the majority of folks. If you just stand in front of a pharmacy and watch, that's the majority of people you're going to watch come by. I'm a member of Kaiser Medical Group here in California. And monthly, I have to go get my thyroid medication, some other meds. And while I'm there, you have 15 minutes to kind of sit and wait for your stuff. And I just observe people coming by. And I would say 9 out of 10, fall risk, fall risk, fall risk, super frail. I mean, they can barely straighten up and stand up straight. So deconditioned. But then you see some other folks and it's like walking tall, walking proud, no fall risk at all, completely mobile, capable. What are you doing? And you can look at those individuals and go, I guarantee they are highly active, conditioned individuals. Does that mean that we can naturally assume they're lifting weights? No, but I would suggest they're at least highly active, if not are resistance training. So it should include, and they're talking here about what should we do about this now. It should include individualized approach based on existing equipment, i.e. body weight or resistance machines. I understand when articles like this or anyone suggests, well, just kind of use what you have. There's general assumptions here that as we're older, there's less willingness to invest. I find it quite the opposite. As people get older, they want to invest in their health. They want to invest in something that will assist them in living a higher quality of life, a longer quality of life. And so if they find a gym or a trainer or a style of training that they believe in, they will invest in that. And so rather than trying to make a program out of soup cans and water jugs and whatever you have, quote unquote, laying around the house, why not invest in a really good program and the equipment needed to do that? And I think that's the route to probably take here is do some research, find a place that you believe in, and or a trainer that you believe in, and then invest in the quality of whatever it is that their gym membership or their home equipment or whatever it is. When you say body weight is not going to get you the result that you want. It isn't, gang. Okay, we can argue about this till we're blue in the face. You can get great development of basic strength using your body weight, and you can make some extremely great gains of muscular endurance and cardiovascular endurance training your body weight. But with the aging population, the older adult who, number one, cannot manipulate their body weight. They can't do push-ups. They can barely or cannot do sit to stands to parallel. They do not walk well. They can't stand up straight. They can't do chin-ups. They can't do inverted rows. They can't do dips. They can't do bear crawls. They can't do lunges. They can't do step-ups. So what are we talking about when we say, well, let's just do body weight? So what the hell? What are we going to do? What's the plan now? Move your arms around, march in place. I mean, that whole like something's better than nothing. I do not believe in that. I'm not a fan of that. I would rather you take less time. Okay, I did 30 minutes. I walked on the treadmill, or I sat here and pedaled my little foot bike. Okay, it's better than nothing. Great. I would have rather have you done 15 minutes of the machines, gone around the circuit and got strong. That was way more efficient use of your 15 minutes rather than 30 minutes sitting here with a little foot pedal bike, okay? That whole idea of something's better than nothing, if you're going to invest time and effort into something, why not pick the best time and investment? Even if it's less time, pick the better option to go and do. And in this case, for the aging individual who is deconditioned and is not capable of standing up straight or moving their body weight around, basically, you need to start with resistance training with weights. 2.5s, 5s, 7.5s, 10s, selectorized machines, moving the pin, okay? This is the way to develop some base level of strength. So eventually someday, maybe you can do your body weight in some of those exercises that we talked about. Body weight is not the beginning. Body weight is not the basic. Body weight is not for beginners. It's really difficult to manipulate and move your body weight around in those exercises that we just talked about. So we have to start with weights. So I get it. You want to put that on here. Hey, just start with your body weight, or with resistance machines. Let's just get rid of the body weight. Let's focus on resistance machines. However that looks to you. Free weights or selectorized machines or any variation like what are they called? Free motions, okay? Where it's a pulley, but you're allowed to move it in space. Kind of the best of both worlds, I guess, is what they were shooting for. I think that was Lifetime Fitness or something like that, or I forget who made that. Free Motion, I guess, is the company. Anyway, all right, doesn't matter. All right, so existing literature shows that exercise performance towards 2 to 3 sets, 1 to 2 exercises per major muscle group, okay? 5 to 8 reps. All right, so this is where anything from 8 to 30 plus reps will have a hypertrophy-based effect for you and will help you get strong. The most important part, and that's what they get to here in a moment, is that you have to follow the overload principle. Like there needs to be enough load, enough tension on the weight stack or whatever you're moving that challenges you. So if you just put 10 pounds on the chest press and you're like, well, there's my 8, and you set it down and you're like, well, I could have done 20 more, that's not going to grow anything for you. That's not going to stimulate any new growth. You need to get done with those 8 reps and go, boy, maybe I could have done 2 more, but that's about it, okay? We need to be somewhere between a 7 and an 8 out of 10 or a 70 to 80% effort, somewhere in there to actually get muscular stimulus growth, okay? Now, when I say growth, I'm not saying we need to make our necks go away and tear the seams in our shirts. Like we're looking for stimulus you're watering a plant that has not been watered in a long time. It's gonna grow a little bit, hopefully, is the plan, but you have to stimulate the muscle enough. If I'm capable of doing 30 pounds for 10 reps and I'm only doing 10, nothing's really going to change for me. Nothing's going to really work other than maybe I'll improve my mobility a little bit. That's about it, okay? So the 5 to 8 reps, that's pretty low in my opinion. I would shoot for 12 to 15. I think you're gonna get more value out of that, especially in a deconditioned individual. And if you're only doing 2 sets, okay, then I would love to get 30-ish reps out of those 2 sets combined. 2 to 3 times a week, absolutely. 2 times a week for beginners. If you're just starting off, you should work out on a Monday. This is an example, Monday and then Thursday, okay? That gives you 72 hours between training sessions. Lots of time to recover. But what do you do in between those 2 days? Go for walks. So I'm gonna lift weights, 15 to 20 minutes Monday. Walk, 15 to 20 minutes Tuesday. Walk on Wednesday. Weights again. Walk walk Friday, walk Saturday. Sunday, go golfing, go for a bike ride, go play pickleball, go do something else, swimming, go Tai Chi, yoga, whatever you want to go and do, go do something that's fun, that's not walking, and that's not weights. And then after about a month, maybe 2 months, okay, depending how you feel, then add a third day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we lift. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we walk and or ruck at this point. So you're adding some load to your body. Wear a vest, wear a backpack, wear a loaded fanny pack, whatever you want. Just get some body weight, get some weight on your body, and then go for your walk. And then continue, gameplay or whatever else you want to do on your other days, right? So they said 2 to 3 times per week, followed by training principles such as periodization and progression. So that's the idea here, is you have to look at the progressive overload you're working with, and then every time you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can do my 3 sets of 12 with this weight, we're either going to progress that, right, into sets of 15, or I'm going to increase my weight a little bit and try to get 10 to 12 reps. One of those has to change. You either need to go higher in reps or you need to go higher in weight. Something needs to change. A new stimulus must occur every 2 to 3 weeks would be ideal. And then we kind of continue to progress that till you get to a point where it's like, all right, I'm pretty strong and I'm pretty capable, and I want to maintain this ability. And we're always in a pursuit of a progression in our ability. We're always in a pursuit, but that doesn't always mean it has to be the heaviest load. So we'll get clients who are like, when are we going to be satisfied with my strength? So we'll get to the point where you can pick up the 70-pound kettlebell off the floor once. Cool. Then we'll get to a point where you can do it 5 times. Awesome. Then we get to a point where you can do it 8 to 10 times. That's amazing. Do we need to go to the 80-pound kettlebell now? Or can I do that 8 to 10 reps and then start to change my tempo, or ask you to do multiple sets, or change the foot position from narrow stance to wide stance? Or can we regress back down to a lighter kettlebell, start using one arm while we do our deadlifts? Like, there's all kinds of variables that you can change, that doesn't necessarily just go, well, what's the next heaviest weight? What's the next heaviest weight? Because will get to a point where it's like 70 pounds off the floor for a 60 or 70-year-old female client is amazing, okay? That's awesome strength. That's great strength. I want you to have that strength and keep it for the rest of your life. But do I need you to go to 80, 90, 100? No, you don't need to. 70 is fantastic. What I need you to do is maintain that, but I still need to continue to challenge you. So let's try to change some of the other variables. And if after 5 or 6 months of changing those variables, well, now we can graduate to the 80 pounder because you are exceptionally strong in all these different actions, reps, sets, loads, variations of everything that we're working with. Okay, cool. We've now earned that 80 pounds. And now let's work with that for a while. And maybe that's as heavy as we get. That's okay. That's phenomenal strength, and I want to keep that, never lose it, or have it regressed as minimally as possible, okay? According to resistance training programs, they should include fast and slowly executed exercises focused on developing muscular strength. That would be a little bit slower. Muscular power, that would be moving weights a little bit faster, since both are related to gait, falls, balance, and quality of life. That's big, okay? So that's where velocity training, eccentric training, general strength training, and HIRT training, high intensity resistance training, those 4 different kind of components here are all going to come together. All right, so let's hear from some of our experts and an expert, and then let's get into some of the exercises that we want to highlight on this. This is Dr. Andy Galpin.
Most highly respected exercise physiologist
All right, here we go. Andy Galpin.
in the field today.
He is the director of the Center for Sports Performance.
And he's a coach to many professional athletes.
I'm going to talk about how do I lose weight and how do I improve my performance, mood, sleep. But if you want to live as well as possible for a long time, it comes down to a couple of things. Number one, you can't not pay attention to grip strength. And in fact, we can actually predict Alzheimer's and dementia risk via grip strength testing. And then leg strength and VO2 max, those things will outpredict how long you're going to live more than almost any metric. And I'm saying leg strength because one of the most significant issues that we face during aging, it's our falls. If you look at the risk of dying after a hip break in those that are over 60 years old, there is a 70% chance of death over the next 15 years.
Wow. What is VO2 max?
Your maximum ability to bring in and utilize oxygen. There's actually a study with 750,000 people and found smoking and diabetes had a 40% increased risk of dying. And VO2 max is 300%.
Oh, fuck. What do I need to be doing?
It comes down to a couple of things. If you can do the stuff consistently, you're going to be just fine. First.
Okay, so let's review that really quick. So the first thing that he suggests in there is you can't ignore grip strength. What that means is you can't sit in your recliner all day and just work on grip strength squeezers and increase your Captain Crush grip strength over 120 pounds and be like, dude, I'm gonna live forever now. Crushed it. Okay, we can't do that. What grip strength is an indicator and why it's such a good indicator is unless you're a plumber or some profession where you are constantly gripping and ripping things with your hands, in most cases, okay, we'll say 9 times out of 10, if you have good grip strength and good mechanical dexterity with your hands, that means that you're a highly active individual and you're doing a lot on a daily basis. If you don't have good grip strength, especially as you're aging here, that means that you're more sedentary and you're not utilizing your strength and your mobilities and your agilities with your extremities. And thus it's going to be a reflection based on if we could pick like one simple thing that correlates with people that are fit, conditioned, capable, able, living longer, higher quality of life, etc. And then the opposite end of that, the big thing that we saw across the board, everybody, is that these guys had much better grip strength and these ones didn't, okay? So it's a fairly simple way for us to go, hey, squeeze this, and now based on that result, let me look at the data and say, more than likely, you're either this side or that side, based on this one simple thing that can be done in seconds. Now, is that going to go for everybody? No. But is it going to give us a pretty good indicator? Yes. That's my point, is you could be severely deconditioned, completely out of shape, way over body fat, worst VO2 max ever, but you're a plumber, you're something where you're gripping and wrenching and you have an amazing grip strength, but the rest of your body isn't. Other than those individuals, we're talking about general mass, general pops, majority of them, if the grip strength is low, That's a very key indicator. And there are correlations all the way down to how many medications you're taking, how many diseases you might have based on how poor your grip strength is, okay? That in comparison or in conjunction with the sit to stand test, okay? And how many sit to stands you can do in 30 seconds. That gives us those two right there. That's the two big ones for our sarcopenia screen. Those are them, okay? Sit to stand and grip strength. So much research and so much information to support those two. If I can do those two with someone, I can give you a pretty damn good snapshot of their capabilities and their overview of their general health and capabilities within 90 to 95% accuracy. I mean, it's pretty accurate, okay, which is great. But again, you're going to have some outliers here and there, okay? So, so he addresses grip strength. That's going to be an understanding of typically full body strength, but specifically a little more emphasis on the upper. The sit to stand, a little more emphasis on the lower, obviously. So now the next thing he says is leg strength. And they go, not just because you need to stand up, but your legs are what are going to carry you through life. So fall is the big concern now. For those over 60, they fall and they break their hip. There's a 70% chance those individuals will die in the next 10 to 15 years. That their quality of life will be altered, if not severely altered. And that their abilities to do the most basic, simplistic things they used to be able to do no longer are going to be that simple, or they won't be able to do them on their own, okay? A cane, a wheelchair, or assistance from another individual, now entering the disability threshold, okay? So as we kind of look at that, in that last little bit, I left the VO2 max part in there for that. Very important, right? You can see if you smoke, if you have diabetes, you have like a 40% increase in all-cause mortality, right? I think smoking was 40, diabetes was 50. If you have a low VO2 max, 300% chance of more increased mortality, okay? Which means you're gonna die sooner, is the basic idea of that. So that was great to put in there. Important to have conditioning components, but specifically, the consistency. He said you have to be able to do these things consistently or else they won't take effect. So when we look at exercises, here comes Joyce now with a bunch of different exercises that we do. And when we do these, our goal is to give her an idea of why we're training and then how we can apply this to daily life. So it occurs more than just in the weight room. The 1 hour that I get to see her a week, it's got to occur all the time, every day, in all opportunities. So what we're doing with Joyce here is taking a look at her gait, her ability to walk. I had her do without knowing what was going on, I just said, just walk across the room. And she kind of waddles from side to side. Okay, I've made comments before how she looks like these little wind-up toys that when they waddle, right, they with their feet. Okay, and I use that as an analogy because her arms do go out to the side and she does have this waddle from side to side. She's trying to find stability utilizing her arms, much like an individual on a wire would walk with a bar. That bar is their counterweight. So Joyce will put her arms out to use her arms as counterweights when she walks. When your arms are out to the side and you take small steps and you kind of egg beat your legs around the outside, your body is going to counter that, and so it looks like you're waddling, okay? So as we try to get her to roll through her feet, heel to toe, and to take a tiny bit longer step, 2 to 3 inches, I saw that she made some improvement and waddled less. So what we decided to do is, and our goal was to give her 6 inches between her back toe and her front heel. So basically when Joyce will walk now, her feet don't clear each other, okay? Here are her feet. When she walks, the one foot is at least 5 to 6 inches, if not half of her other foot length. So she literally moves her feet like those little wind-up toys, okay? And then for stability, she turns her feet out to the side. So now when you do it, that's the waddle component. So our goal was, let's get your toes a little straighter and let's try to take a gap space where there's about 6 inches between my back toe and my front heel. And to give her an indicator of that, we put cones down, we measured them out, we put cones on the floor. And her goal as she steps here is to put her heel in the center of each cone. So the first time through, she overstrided a little bit. The way back, she did better. Now this one, she nails it. Watch how Good. Her heels on the cone, on the cone, on the cone, on the cone, on the cone. Like shit, that was perfect. And you saw way less waddle, okay? Way less waddle. So to work on this now, where we found the gait transition from strength training to regular walking out in the real world, the carryover is best applied and practiced with load in hand on one side of your body, suitcase carries. As we put weight in one side of her hand, she's able to ground and recruit more musculature, because without another weight in the other hand, she has to muscularly engage to hold her body in position to be able to transfer herself across the room. So she's rolling through her feet, great. She's getting a much less waddle from side to side. She's about an inch lower than she would be if she didn't have that weight in hand, but she's lowering her center of mass and contracting her core enough to manipulate the extra 18, 15 pounds, whatever she has there in hand, while she transfers it to the other side of the room, sets it down, turns around, properly picks up. So that's a great way for us to practice loaded carries, but also improving her gait naturally, in hopes that the movement pattern that she is practicing, transferring that weight back and forth, she'll remember that and then implement it in real life when she's outside. Just for giggles, we kind of felt her purse and then that bag, and they weren't too far off. Her purse is quite heavy, and she does sling that and carry it on one side. So I said, so here's your suitcase carry. Instead of you holding it in your hand, you're slinging it to a shoulder. So try to sling on different shoulders every time you go somewhere, but also remember, you've got extra weight on one side, so you've got to lock down center of mass, okay, and then we go. So now we're going to start practicing different directionalities and increasing our lower body strength. These are called gait steps. We give her a contralateral support stick. I don't want her to hang onto the countertop, which is what most people want to do. I just want to put my hand on the countertop or on the wall. You need support, that's fine, but I want the support to be stabilized and provided by you, okay? So she can use this stick, she can rely on the stick, but she's the one creating the stability with the stick. If she doesn't engage her arm, if she doesn't engage her core, the stick will tip over or fall in direction, she'll fall and follow it. So if I grab the wall or grab the countertop, I don't have to do anything other than just put my weight against it, and I'm stabilized. But if I hold onto a stick, I kind of get the best of both worlds. I get some assistance, I get some stabilization, but I also have to put in work to create that stabilization. If I'm not quite capable of doing these gait steps yet without some support, this is the way to go. So we're going to step forward with good control and then brace and push back and try to move back rather quickly off the heel. Okay, here's a just regular old school traditional bridge. Now, we're not quite comfortable yet getting Joyce up and down off the floor. She can do it, but I don't want to do a bunch of reps for her in the weight room. So that's a little bit of a reserved skill for now. So we have her bridge on the bench. The very first one that she did, she cramped immediately, grabbed at her hamstring, like literally did one and went, and grabbed at her leg. That's going to happen for most people, because especially if you've never done this before, you've had 60, 70, 80 years of never really activating your hamstrings under short tension. So now when you squeeze to pull your butt up to the air, those hamstrings are gonna go, dude, what is going on? So she cramped, we extended her leg out, got the hamstring to lengthen, cramp went away, we started again. A couple more times that happened, she continued to work through it. By the end, she was able to do sets of 20 to 30 seconds here, and she was okay. But just squeezing and lifting her butt up as high as she can get, moving your sternum, moving your chest, bracing, pulling everything up like a wheelbarrow, okay? Super important. Really good one for the posterior chain. So here we go here. This is a 10-inch step that Joyce is working on, or maybe an 8-inch step. And in doing this, I gave her support sticks, okay, on each side. She was struggling to stabilize herself even with the sticks. So what I did was put my hand on top of the stick to give it more stability. So now when she would pull or push on that, it wouldn't go anywhere, and she could utilize her arms a little bit more to assist herself up and down. As she starts getting better at this, we start asking her to come down softer, to utilize even her arms with the stick more, to work this eccentric control on the way down. Now we can adjust the height of the step. We could start to take away sticks. or we could add some load via a vest or something like that for her while she does that to aid in that vertical ascent. So we've now worked on her ability to step forward and push back. We've worked on her ability to pull her hips up into the air and return, posterior chain. We've worked on her ability to ascend and descend up and down stairs. Now we're going to try to work more extension of the hip and apply her into a more athletic type position. And that's where pushing the tank here, let me go back to that one, where pushing the tank is a really good component for this hip extension, push and drive through your hips and work yourself into that athletic sprinter type position is really, really beneficial, not to mention the core strength, everything else that kind of goes into that. Now we're doing a loaded sit to stand. So she's got a weight in hand here, okay? Weight in hand, and she's going to stand up, holding that weight in her right hand, transfer to the other side of the room, and notice we're trying, takes her a couple steps to get there, but she's trying to get those longer gaits, right? Those longer gait steps. Sits down, stands up, next, okay? So here's the next week. As we progress, she's got a weight in hand now while she's doing those gait steps, right? Still the support stick, but she's got a little 9-pounder in her hand. We're going to sit to stands. She's 2 inches lower than we've been working on our sit to stands, holding her weight up in the goblet, counterweight up at her heart there, 9 pounds. Okay, unloading, re-engaging, driving up, right? We're talking about the Jamaican bobsled team here that we're all on a line doing this. And then loaded carries, okay, again, holding in one side and working on her stride, working on her toes being straight. Okay, as we work our way through this is very unnatural for her, but gradually getting better. Look how good that gait is as she's manipulating and walking around there. That's a very solid gait for her. Right here, I mean, she's doing pretty good, right? Pretty good. The last like 4 or 5 steps are what I like the most in this one. As she makes the turn, she gets a little narrow, but then she realizes, oh wait, I gotta have my feet shoulder width apart. She's a little narrow right here, watch. So now a little wider, okay? Look at her getting a little wider right there, right there, right there. She starts to open up and everything starts to quiet down, not so much side to side, right? So we're gonna see some really good opportunities for people to increase their lower body strength with the simplicities of daily sit to stands. This was something I did with my dad. I mention it often. Every time he would get up and get back down, anywhere he was going, when he would stand up, I would ask him to do, at least 3, but he would usually do 5, sit to stand, 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 and then go kitchen, get whatever he was gonna get, come back, and at least 1, 2, 3 more sit to stands. Again, he would usually do like 4 or 5. And this earned him the self-applied nickname Legs of Steel, which we all embraced and still lovingly mention on a daily basis. So if my dad, who was as frail and as disabled and as frail elder as you could title someone, could barely get up and down out of a bed that was 24 inches in height, okay, for him to sit down to, which is high, okay? For him to build his way back to be capable of doing everything that he could do at the end, which was walking at a very solid, very fast pace, up and down stairs, up and down off the floor, 4-inch sub parallel, okay? So your knee and your hip parallel, 4 inches below parallel sit to stands, multiple reps. He could do the 50 sit to stand test for time and was at 16 or 15 reps for his 30-second sit to stand. That's 1 every 2 seconds. That's awesome for a 78-year-old man who had never really lifted weights ever in his life except for the last 2 years of his life. That was a catastrophic change and improvement in his life. And it really came down to 1 day a week in the weights with me, but practicing those sit to stands on a daily basis. It improved his leg strength, improved almost every other area of his life that he did from there, as the legs are what's carrying you through this. Reduction of fall risk allows you to go do more in life, increases your confidence, improves your posture. But even down to like daily bowel movements, everything else, like the stronger and the more mobile and the more capable and the more movement that he got, the better his movements were, if you know what I mean. Like it helps everything. So leg strength, I'm very, very convinced, and I think the research supports it, And Andy Galpin discusses it. Atia Huberman, you know, and Lane Norton, like everybody that, you know, we would consider authorities in our profession, really embrace this idea as well. As you've got to be strong overall body, but especially in your legs, as they are what's carrying you through life, which is why it's like we never skip leg day, and why every workout that we do, every chance we have to work with someone, we always do legs, and almost always some variation of a sit to stand or a deadlift or a squat or something where we're going to break at the hip, get to parallel or below it, and then move our way back up and down, because it's just too vitally important a movement pattern, but it's too effective to help gain and everything and anything else that we do in our daily life. So I know this was a bit of a long one here, but I hope that you got some good ideas and some good understandings as to why this is such an important thing to train, why it's such an important thing to maintain consistency in training on a regular basis. And we can't stop. You can't go, well, I can do, you know, my 15 sit to stands in 30 seconds. That's what Rob said to be able to do, and now I'm good. I'll retest in a couple of years and see if I can. It's got to be a daily battle, a daily fight, because sarcopenia is not stopping its pursuit. Like it's gravity and functional loss is going to, it's in a constant pursuit of defeating us. And we need to daily deposit and make efforts to maintain our bone density, maintain our muscle mass, if not increase both of those things, and maintain our ability to function at a high level. And with that is good, proper posture, our ability to ascend and descend stairs, up and down off the floor, transition load through space, locomotion with objects, walking to and from the car with groceries, etc. If we can keep doing that, high quality of life, low mortality risk, and a capable and able progression in through the aging process into decades should always be present. It should always be achievable. You should always be able to do whatever it is, right? Cruises, travel, trips, whatever, anything, everything that you're pursuing. Golf, tennis, 50-year high school reunion, whatever. We want you to be able to do that confidently and not have this constant fear in the back of your mind. What if I fall down? Am I going to fall down? That, I think there's more emotional stress being done there than anything else. We want to build your abilities and your confidence in you and your system to where it's no longer top of mind. It's autonomic. I'm good. I will survive. All right, gang. I hope you enjoyed this. Comments or questions, feel free to post down below. Please subscribe. Help us grow this community here. Always trying to make this channel a little bit more engaging. So if you have anybody you'd like to recommend, send a link over, let them watch a video, and hopefully you'll enjoy the content. Like the videos for us, please, if you could, and subscribe. Ring that bell so you don't miss any of our content. Until next time, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. I love and appreciate you all, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.